What's up everyone, Dimitri here. In this video, I'm going to do a full breakdown of Luka's shooting form. Luka has such an effortless looking jump shot. His career 3-point percentage is right around league average, but given how his jumper looks and the rest of his numbers, I'm a little surprised by his free throw percentage. So let me break it all down for you. I'm going to show you each piece of his jump shot. These are all the mechanics that make up the shooting form of Luka Doncic. Alright, let's dive in. Let's start with Luka's footwork and his shooting stance. Luka uses all sorts of footwork. The 1-2 step, the hop, he'll jab with his right foot, either with the live dribble or before he's dribbled. And of course, he loves to step back to his left, planning off that right foot. As for Luka's stance when he shoots, this is his ideal stance. Feet are about shoulder distance apart. But in basketball, you're not always going to get to your ideal stance, especially when you're creating for yourself off the dribble as much as Luka does. Sometimes he finds himself in a wider stance than usual. Sometimes in a more narrow stance. Regardless, what does stay consistent is the direction Luka points his feet. He always has his feet pointed left. Sometimes they're really far left too. Like here, they're almost perpendicular with the baseline. And here. Pointing his feet left turns his whole body to the left. Besides his head, which is facing the basket, the rest of Luka's body is facing left towards the baseline. By doing this, his shooting shoulder is now further ahead than his left, aligning it with the basket and making it so he's not shooting across his body. So his feet are pointed left, and also his right foot is ahead of his left foot, or slightly closer to the basket than his left. And this goes hand in hand with the shooting shoulder. Shooting foot forward, shooting shoulder forward. Last thing with his stance, Luka leans forward at the start of his shot, and also to his left a little. As his shot progresses, he's going to stand up straight, so he's not leaning forward anymore. But you can see that slight lean to the left still. Next up, how Luka holds the basketball. Let's start with where he places his hands. Luka puts his shooting hand over to the right side of the ball, and he's got it angled to his left. His fingers aren't intersecting the seams in a perpendicular fashion. Here's the seam. See how his fingers are facing more to the left? Here's another good look at it. So his shooting hand is shaded over to the right side of the ball to start his shot, but by the time he's just about to release, his hand is going to be under and in the middle of the ball, which is ideal, and I'll show you how he gets to this point later. His guide hand when he first starts his shot is to the side of the ball, and it's going to stay to the side until he completely removes it from the ball right before his release. More on that later too. As for his grip, Luka has a relaxed grip, meaning he's not actively squeezing the ball. He's got his fingers spread wide, and he's got the ball slightly elevated off his palm. It's sitting on the pads of his fingers and thumb. Here's the view from the other side. The first thing I want to point out is you can see how, like I just mentioned, his hand is over to the right side of the ball at the start of his shot. And then notice how his hand is kind of curled in a C shape. It's a little blurry, but you can see that little gap there between his palm and the ball. Alright, that is Luka's hand placement and how he grips the ball. Moving on, Luka's shot pocket, gather, and lift path. This can vary based on the situation, but for the most part, Luka starts his shot with the ball below his waist. Sometimes it's right at waist height too. Right above and in front of his knees. Sometimes he'll keep the ball up higher though, especially when trying to speed up his shot. On this one, he's got the ball right at his waist. From here, it's a very quick dip, and then he raises the ball up to his set point. Watch the subtle downwards motion before he raises the ball up. And here it is from the front. So Luka has the ball below his waist, and it's also over to his left. Ball over to his left. From here, he's going to raise the ball up to his set point. He's not going to dip on this one. This is just a warm-up where he's not jumping, so maybe that's why. But yeah, this will give you the best look at his lift path, or the path of the ball from his shot pocket to his set point. So Luka starts his shot from the left side of his body, and he brings it over to his right side. And then same thing when shooting off the dribble. Luka gathers the ball, aka puts both hands on the ball to start his shot, and this happens either around waist height or a little lower. And where he gathers it depends on where the defender is. Here, he gathers it well over to the left side of his body, away from SGA. The next part of Luka's shooting form I want to show you, his set point. Your set point is that transition point in your shot where you're done raising the ball into the air and you're about to start actually shooting the ball towards the basket. Raises the ball up, pause, and now he begins to shoot. So this part right here is his set point. What I look at with the set point is where's the ball located, and then also what's their form look like at this checkpoint. As for Luka's set point location, he has a high set point, meaning he brings the ball up above his head. The bottom of the ball clears the top of his head. And he brings it back so that the ball is hovering over the front half of his head. It's also shaded over to the right side of his head. And then when shooting contested shots in the mid-range, Luka raises his set point up even higher so he can get his shot off. Alright, that was where Luka brings the ball to. Now I'm going to show you his form as he reaches his set point. I'll start with his shooting elbow. On regular jump shots, at his set point, Luka's shooting elbow is pointing upwards. It's above parallel with the ground. This is just a result of having a high set point. To bring the ball up and then back a bit over your head, your elbow is going to come up too. So Luka's upper arm and elbow are pointing up. His forearm is flexed back a little past that 90-degree mark, and his wrist is flexed back not quite to 90. Doing all this creates these angles here. And Luka starts his shot with his wrist already slightly flexed back. And then as he raises the ball to his set point, he bends it back even more. Slightly bent back. Fully bent back. The other thing I look at when it comes to the shooting elbow at the set point is which direction is it facing. The reason I look at this is because I believe the easiest way to shoot is by having your elbow face the basket at some point during your shot. For Luka, as he's raising the ball into the air, his elbow starts out facing towards the right of the basket. But as his shot progresses, his elbow is going to turn in to the left. It starts out facing to the right. When he gets to his set point, it's still facing a little to the right. And then as he continues onto his release, it's going to end up facing a little left of the basket actually. But I'll show you more of that in the next section. Here it is all the way through in slow-mo and then full speed. Watch the elbow start out right and come back to the left. Here's another good look showing you the movement of the elbow from his right to his left. Back to his set point. So his upper arm and elbow are facing to Luka's right. His lower arm, his forearm and wrist are slightly tilted over to his left. And with his shooting hand still over to the right side of the ball at this point, this angles his shooting hand up and to his left. And then his guide hand is over to the side. So this is Luka's form and the location of the ball at his set point. The next part of Luka's shooting form is his release. Okay, so I just got done showing you how Luka's shooting elbow progressively turns left throughout his shot. It starts out facing to the right of the basket. At his set point, it's still facing a little to the right. And then as he begins to snap his elbow to shoot, it's now facing a little left of the basket. His forearm and wrist are then going to snap towards the basket. Watch it again. This angle's good. You can really see the elbow facing left and the forearm and wrist facing the basket. As he releases, Luka fully extends, fully locks out his shooting arm. And Luka gets great arc on his shot. Even from deep, where a lot of players tend to have a flatter trajectory. Mechanically, the major contributor to his great arc is how high his release is. Look how high his shooting elbow finishes. Well above his head. Really, bare minimum, you want your elbow to finish as high as your eyes. Anything lower than that, and you're pushing the ball. Luka clears that easily. Back to his set point again. At this point in his shot, his forearm and wrist are tilted to his left a bit. And with this tilt, and the fact that his hand is over to the right side of the ball, Luka's shooting palm is facing up and to the left. Well, as he progresses through the rest of his shot, Luka's shooting hand ends up directly under and in the middle of the ball, with his shooting palm facing up now. Watch his shooting hand on these next few. Watch how it ends up right in the middle and under the ball. Which to me is the ideal position you want your shooting hand to be in before you release. I believe having your hand right in the middle and under the ball helps you get good arc and makes it easier to shoot straight. And then right after his hand ends up under the ball, Luka snaps his wrist to shoot. And he pushes the ball pretty evenly with his pointer, middle, and ring finger. They all start curling at the same time here. With it being the longest finger, his middle finger is going to be the last one to leave the ball. Here it is all the way through. On his follow-through, Luka's fingers finish curled and facing down. And the palm on his shooting hand faces down too. his pointer finger is straight for a bit and then it curls. His pointer finger stays straight on this one. The other thing is, Luka's fingers finish close together. Remember how earlier his fingers were spread on the ball? As he shoots though, he brings his fingers in together. So that was Luka's shooting hand on his release. As for his guide hand, before his release, Luka very subtly removes his guide hand from the ball. He slightly flexes his guide hand back as he straightens his fingers. There's really not a lot of movement to it. He just kind of lets that hand fall off the ball. So now, with his guide hand completely off the ball, he's free to shoot without any interference from that hand. Alright, last part of Luka's release, his eyes. After he shoots, Luka keeps his eyes on the basket. He doesn't lift his eyes to follow the ball or anything. Next part of Luka's form, legs. On regular, on-balance shots, Luka doesn't jump very high as he shoots. He jumps towards the basket. And as he jumps, he kicks his legs forward. The other thing I want to show you is the timing of Luka's jump in relation to the rest of his shot. From the catch, Luka bends his knees. This is the point where his knees are most bent. If I move forward a bit, you'll see his legs start to extend now. So Luka bends his knees as he dips the ball and starts raising it up to his set point. And his knees are most bent when the ball is above his head and in front of it. He's not quite at his set point yet. At least so far, the majority of the players I've done this for have the ball around shoulder height when their knees are most bent. So Luka is a little different from most in this regard. I don't think it really matters, but I just wanted to point that out. Okay, from here, Luka's gonna start extending his legs and jumping off the ground. So Luka starts to jump a little before he reaches his set point. Let me go to another clip so you can see the rest. He's gonna start jumping from here. And his legs fully extend as he releases the ball. And he continues to elevate after his release for a bit, which means Luka shoots on the way up. This is not something that Luka is actively thinking about while shooting, but all this timing contributes to the look of Luka's form and also the rhythm and fluidity of his shot. Alright, last thing with Luka's jump shot, how fast he shoots it. Having a high set point is going to take a little longer to shoot than a low set point shot. And then also, Luka seems to really take his time with his shot. He doesn't look like he's ever in a rush, just like the rest of his game. So I'm curious to see what his numbers are here. I'm going to time Luka shooting a few threes, and then I'll let you know how that compares with other shooters I've done this for. Okay, so I'm going to start the timer when Luka has the ball at his shot pocket. This is the start of his shot, right before he starts to dip the ball and then raise it into the air. I'm going to stop the timer the moment the ball is completely clear from his hands. Okay, from here, he's going to start dipping the ball. Here we go. 0.78 seconds. Here's one where he takes his time more. 0.84. And here's a faster one off the hop with the defender contesting more. So yeah, this is obviously going to vary from shot to shot, but I just wanted to give you an idea of around how fast Luka shoots the ball. For comparison, I had Steph as fast as 0.49, SGA as fast as 0.51, and KD as fast as 0.74. his footwork and his shooting stance, how he holds the ball, his shot pocket, lift path, set point, release, legs, and release time. These are all the different pieces that make up the shooting form of Luka Doncic. Hope you enjoyed this one and learned something that helps you with your own shooting form. If you liked this video, definitely check out some of my other shooting form breakdown videos, which I'll link to in the description. And if you'd like to support the channel, you can do so by becoming a channel member. Just hit the join button below this video to learn more. Your support helps me keep making more videos like this one, and you'll also unlock a few members only perks as well. Alright, that's going to do it for this one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.